Come on. I'm Michelle McNabb, Librarian Manager of the Family History and Genealogy Center at the Danish Immigrant Museum in Elkhorn, Iowa. This is part 4 of Paulus F. Falk's account of attending Elkhorn College in 1910 and 1911. The winter term has started as we continue his story. It did not take long to get acquainted with the new arrivals. My next-door neighbors were a couple of red-headed preacher's sons, Schrijver and Gerhard Kierkegaard, sons of Reverend A. Kierkegaard, one of our pioneer pastors and a well-known personality in the UDELC. He was quite a traveling missionary, organizing congregations and preaching in western Nebraska, eastern Wyoming, and Colorado. I became good friends with these two boys. Schrijver was a couple of months younger than I, and Gerhard a year older. They were a couple of quiet, studious fellows. Schrijver became my brother-in-law when he married my sister in 1925. At that time, he was pastor at Plainfield, New Jersey, where he served for 10 years. His next call was at Lynbrook, New York, where he served for 25 years. While on the subject of pastors' children, quite a number attended Elkhorn College and Dana College, both before my time and after. In 1909 and 10, the first year I attended, we were only 3. Maria Gersild, daughter of Reverend T.H. Gersild, pastor at Elkhorn, Holger Gersild, son of Reverend J.N. Gersild, and I. But in the 1910-11 school year, we were 6, 2 Gersilds, 2 Kierkegaards, and 2 Falks. We were now well settled into the established routine of the school. Classwork and gymnastics were both 5 days a week. Nearly all the male students took part in gymnastics. Basketball had become more or less the neglected stepchild of the college, indulged in on Saturdays and sometimes on Sunday afternoons. 4 former players were back, Polson, Jensen, Larson, and I. Principal Larson was never keenly interested in American sports. He looked upon such interests to be tolerated rather than practiced. Gymnastics was the thing for students. Jensen decided that he was too busy to take part in it that year, so it was up to Larson and I to keep the basketball flame burning. We found 3 other fellows sympathetic to the cause, and some of the boys from town came up to give us competition on Sunday afternoons. Then other boys from the college became interested and started to play. The members of the first team, as we called ourselves, were Wilhelm Larson, John Jacobson, Storm Markison, Alfred Pedersen, son of banker Pedersen, and myself. We did play one out-of-town game that year in Atlantic against the town team. The hall in which we played was at least twice as large as ours. We were completely lost on the large floor and far outclassed as players, and took a first-class trouncing. Friday evenings were reserved for what was called Lyceum. These were bilingual in Danish and English. Our programs consisted of singing Danish and English songs, readings of stories and essays. A couple of debates took place that winter, one in English, the other in Danish. We also had musical selections in piano and violin. These programs were well attended, both by the students and the local people. Saturday forenoon was house cleaning time. The afternoons were used for various activities. Sunday forenoon and evening were for church services, and most of the students attended regularly. 4 pastors from the Audubon region, including my father, delivered lectures during the winter term. Father had been on a trip to Denmark that summer. This was the first time he had visited the land of his birth since coming to the U.S. in 1884. His mother was still alive and well up in age, and this had prompted his journey. The topic of his talk was based on this trip. Reverend G.B. Christensen was then president of the UDELC and another of the speakers. I recall quite vividly his lecture, which was the first time I heard him speak. I was very much impressed by his physical appearance, straight as a ramrod, with full black beard and hair. He was very deliberate in his actions and delivery, and his gestures were somewhat eccentric, but he certainly could hold your attention. We'll hear more about Paulus Falk's observations next week. I'm Michelle McNabb from the Danish Immigrant Museum. Ha' det godt i dag.